management, or sponsors.
Are you a family caregiver? Are you caregiving for someone who can no longer take care of themselves? Are you overwhelmed? This is Caregiver Solutions Info with Marsha Teal. Marsha will be hosting an hour of true stories and information, tips and updates of the latest research and necessary information in the caregiving field, focusing on you, the family caregiver. An Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert, Marsha has 15 years of hands-on experience at Arden Courts, a leader in assisted living dementia communities here in the U.S. Marsha covers everything you need to know as a family caregiver, especially if you care for a loved one with Alzheimer's disease or other related dementia or chronic illness. If you have a friend or relative that is also a family caregiver, call them now. They won't want to miss a minute. And let them know they can watch on caregiversolutions.info. And they can listen on WNN 1470 AM in South Florida or nationally on the iHeartRadio app. Now, sit back, relax, and learn from our host, Marsha Teal, as she brings information to you that may just be the caregiving solution you need.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Caregiver Solution Info Show. I'm so glad that you're here today. We have another wonderful program for you. This is the show made for caregivers, family caregivers, people that care for others who can't care for themselves, especially the elderly and people with some form of dementia. So on this show, we interview lots of experts in their field, bringing you great information and advice so that you, as a family caregiver, can be a better caregiver, because education makes everyone a better caregiver, because caregivers don't go to college to learn how to be a caregiver. Sometimes you're just thrown into it. They don't understand what their role is. Very difficult. So the program was developed just for an extra avenue for caregivers and other healthcare professionals to learn more about caregiving and more about dementia. So in addition to actually interviewing doctors and social workers, geriatric care managers, physicians with that do research, neurologists, psychologists, and psychiatrists, we actually have real-life caregivers. And in my opinion, there's no better way to learn than from someone who has already trodden that path. And so if a caregiver is telling their story, other caregivers can relate to it. Now, not every situation, of course, is the same, but a caregiver goes through the same type of emotions. The actual facts might be different. The timing might be different, but there's a lot of emotions that are associated with a family caregiver, whether they're caring for a spouse or whether they're caring for a parent. There's a lot of emotions involved because it's one of the hardest things that anyone will ever have to do. So today, we're going to be hearing from a family caregiver. She has a mom, and her mom is basically in her hands because this caregiver is making all of the decisions. And we're going to talk to her today about her journey from the beginning up until now. So I'm very happy to have with me Debbie Sanas. Hi, Debbie.
Hi, glad to be here.
I'm so glad that you are here. I am so excited because you have been in the trenches with caregiving for quite some time with your mom. And I know that you've learned a lot, and I know that you've experienced a lot. And I thank you so much for being here to help others to learn and to share.
Well, it's my pleasure.
Well, the first thing I want to ask you, this is about your mom, right?
Yes.
What's her first name?
Gloria.
Gloria. Okay.
She's 104 and a half.
Wait. Say that again.
104 and a half.
Your mom is 104 and a half.
Yes.
I heard that right.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, I have to say, obviously you have some good genes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's one good thing.
I'm 90, actually.
You're looking really good there. That's amazing. Your mom is 104, and her birthday's in 6 months.
January 19th, yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about Gloria and your journey with Gloria. Tell me a little bit about a quick synopsis about who she was, her life.
Well, she was a housewife, and she took care of me and my sister, and she also worked part-time for my father, who was a dentist. And she's a wonderful mother, a wonderful, wonderful mother. So that's basically it, homemaker.
Okay.
And
all right.
work part-time.
All right. Now, in the beginning, you didn't always live in Florida near her.
No,
But
no.
did you feel that you needed to move to be closer to her at some point?
Well, we're from Boston, and I moved to Manhattan when I was 21. And my mother moved here about 30 years ago. And I'm here 26 years. So, yes. So I was living in New York, and my mother was down here. And, I mean, I didn't come specifically because my mother was here. I just needed to get away from New York. So it was convenient. And I moved here. And
you live close to your mom
yeah,
within
6
a
miles
few
away,
miles?
yeah.
Okay, good. So that makes it really more convenient
Yeah,
for you.
absolutely.
Because later down the road, you turned into having to be there more often and oversee
in
everything.
5 minutes notice sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. So you became a caregiver, and before that, you shared with me earlier that you have already gone to elder law attorneys or attorneys to get paperwork done so
Yeah.
that you could become the power of
Yeah.
attorney for your mom,
Well,
right?
yeah, my mother was she's a very smart woman, and she always took care of things like that. And I mean, she's had her burial plot for probably 25 years. But yeah, we went to a lawyer early on, probably when she was in her 90s, early 90s, to make sure everything was set up and that I would be able to take care of her
All
when
right.
the time
Well, that's
came.
not real soon to wait until your 90s to do that,
Yeah.
but she did it, right?
Well, I mean, she had a will, of course, and she had whatever, but but just the
Other legal.
final things, just to make sure everything was put in place. And
So
yeah.
did you have to bring that topic up to her about Mom, you need someone to make decisions for you?
No. She knew that I was going to have to make decisions for her. I've done it for myself already, and I'm only 73, so
So your mom brought it up.
yeah.
Now, in that respect, I would say you're kind of fortunate because a lot of older people don't want to do that. They don't want to give control over to a child. They don't want to share the details and the information and the finances, and they don't want to give that power, to somebody. But in your case, your mom was very
She
proactive.
trusts me 100%.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that you had a sister.
Yes.
All right.
She passed. My sister passed. I have a brother in New York
Okay.
who's 7 years older.
All right. And is he involved in the caregiving of your mom?
Emotionally, he's involved, and but I'm here day to day. He's in New York.
Okay. So really, you're
boils
kinda,
down to I take care of everything.
Yeah. So it comes down to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. To make all those decisions.
Yeah.
And
Find the
and-
caretakers and doctors, whatever things,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
emergencies.
yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot.
I get 'em all.
Yeah. It all comes down to you,
Yeah.
really. I mean, your brother's further away, and
Of course.
and sometimes you need a break, but we're going to talk about how you take care of yourself while
Yeah.
you take care of your 104 and a half. I like that, and a half. At that age.
Every month counts.
Yes, at that age, everything counts, right?
Yeah.
Months and days and weeks and days,
Absolutely.
right? So again, thank you for being here. We're
Yes.
going to take a real quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get into the day-to-day of caregiving with Debbie taking care of her mom, 104-year-old Gloria. We'll be right back.
Feelings of depression, isolation, and frustration are common among persons living with Alzheimer's or related dementias. It's common among those who care for them, too. It takes a lot of patience and courage. It also takes knowing when you can no longer do it alone. At Arden Courts, memory care is all we do. Talk to us. We know. We understand. We can help. Don't let guilt keep you from making the right decision. Visit arden-courts.com. Arden Courts follows equal housing opportunity guidelines.
You are listening to your host, Marcia Teal, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on caregiversolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
We're back, and my special guest today is Debbie Saunis, and she is a caregiver for her mom, who is 104 years old. And she's sharing with us her journey of being able to handle every situation that comes along. Now, Debbie, obviously people are aging and they're living their life, and your mom was retired and lived down here in South Florida for a long time. When did it first come to your attention or first appeared to you that your mom needed some supervision or some help, where you had to actually get help for her?
Yes. When she was 94, she fell and she fractured her pelvis. And at that point, she was actually using a walker because she was a little insecure in walking. And that put her out of commission for a while. And but she got back on the walker again, and she recovered, and everything was fine. And then closer to 100, she fell again, and that was really a bad fall. I mean, she wasn't in the hospital with it because they couldn't really do anything, but she was afraid to walk after that, and she went into a wheelchair. So I would say she was probably in a wheelchair somewhere in 97, 98. I'm not really sure. It's hard for me to remember. And that was the beginning of problems.
Yes.
Once she went in the chair.
Now, once she went in the wheelchair, she
Yeah.
couldn't really live alone anymore, could she?
No, I mean, so she did. She was living alone, but she had an aide who was there every day from like 9 in the morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and she managed. Well, no, once she was in a wheelchair, she had an aide all the time. But prior to that, she did have an aide from like 9 to 3, Monday through Friday. And she took care, and she was okay the rest of the time. And then little by little, I had to get somebody who had to start coming at night, not for the whole night, but, for the evening hours. And then it turned into somebody having to be there to sleep there. And now it's 24/7.
Now it's 24/7.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's very difficult. First of all, good luck finding an aide.
A
And
good one.
A good one.
Yeah.
And good luck, and if you have to use an agency, and they are incredibly expensive. And
It's difficult.
it's... Yeah, you want to give your parent the best care possible, but, you also have to make sure that there's enough money that, it doesn't run out, and, that they're going to be taken care of for the rest of their lives.
It's a dilemma.
Yeah.
Yeah, very frustrating.
Yeah.
Right? So when you started having to get aides in the home for your mom,
Yeah.
talk about that process. Did you like the first one that you actually hired, or did you have to
Yeah.
go through multiple people?
So fortunately, my mother's had the same girl for 10 years, and she's a godsend, and she's the best human being in the whole world. And I don't know what I would do without her. Now it's emotional. Oh, Luce, I love you. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Um,
You're grateful. You're grateful that you found a good person to help you with your mom.
Yeah. So I have her, and besides that, I had to find somebody who could sleep there. So it's a lot of hours in every day, and you don't realize how many hours you have to fill to take care of somebody. And I went through probably seven caretakers until I finally found another one that sleeps there 5 nights a week. And I've been having horrible problems with the weekend aid situation. I finally found somebody who's very expensive, but she has a good heart, and I think hopefully she'll last. And as long as I have that, if I have my daytime person, my nighttime person, and my weekend person, I can breathe. Sometimes I can't breathe. It's horrible. Anyway,
It's stressful.
I'm good now. And we'll see today.
Today.
We were looking at assisted living, but my mother absolutely refuses to go there. So actually, she's had a really bad weekend, and she was really in a tizzy. And I think part of it was because of that, the stress of me trying to talk her into it, put her over the edge there.
You think so?
Yeah.
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 Now, your mom actually has some memory loss.
Yes.
All right. And
Yes.
she'd gone to the doctor, and
Yes.
the doctor has given her some medication.
Yeah.
About how old was she when they said your mom has dementia?
It's not that long ago. A few years, maybe 3 years.
So not until she was well over 100
Yeah.
did she start to
Yeah.
have some symptoms that
Yeah, I have pictures of her 100th birthday party, and she's in her chair dancing and having a great time and talking to everybody. I mean, she had no dementia at all when she was 100. Nothing.
well,
I got it now.
You have good genes, so you have a long way to go. You've got at least 35 years to go.
Yeah.
But, age is one of the largest, biggest factors, risk factors of people getting dementia, right? So the older we are, the more likely we're going to get it. And your mom went all the way until after 100 years old before she started forgetting.
Yeah.
So that being said, what was something that you remember that sticks out in your mind that you thought, she really does have dementia? Something
Yeah.
that caused you to take note about her memory.
Well, first of all, you have to make sure that the memory thing and the hearing thing are not the same, because sometimes if they can't hear, you may think that it's memory and it's really just a hearing situation. So that's really important to check on.
Yes, that's
that they're
true.
hearing well.
Was your mom having trouble hearing?
Yeah, and she wears hearing aids, and actually one's lost. So, but yeah, she wears hearing aids now. But she also, that came late, late 90s, the hearing loss. I'm sorry, what were we talking about? Something that happened. So I noticed that maybe she wasn't remembering things so well, or she'd asked me the same question a few times. And it was difficult to handle, but really the moment when I knew that my mother was really, really ill was when she said to me, and it was probably one of the worst moments in my life, is when she said to me, "Do you know my daughter?" Anyway.
Was she referring to you or
Yes.
your
Do you
your
know my
sister?
daughter, Debbie?
Oh, she said the name
Yeah.
to you.
Yes.
As, of course, you're Debbie, and
Yes.
she didn't recognize you.
No, and I got really pissed off.
What did you say to her?
I started saying, "It's me. I'm your daughter," and I overreacted a little bit, but I was horrified. It was just everything at once.
And when you reacted and said, "I'm your daughter, Mom,"
Yeah,
did
she
ex-
chuckled. She chuckled because I think she realized, they don't want to get caught. They want to be safe in their dementia. They don't want anybody to know that they have dementia, so they want to hide it. So
So she kind of made light of it.
Yeah, she kind of giggled but to cover it up, and she does that. She does that.
She still does that
Yeah, yeah.
today.
Do you have any tissue?
Yeah, we'll get you a tissue.
Sorry.
So she covers up still today.
And even to this day. And even when it comes to eating, she has a hard time eating by herself. She gets very embarrassed because she goes out she used to, up until last week, she went out every day to eat.
Every day?
Every day for breakfast.
Wow.
She loves the attention. Everybody knows she's so old, and they all come over to her and they treat her like she's a queen.
She must
So
like that.
She loves it.
Yeah.
So, oh gosh.
Yeah. Tissue's coming.
Okay. I'm also having I'm forgetting where I'm
But
at.
this is release for you to, maybe you have friends or other family that you can vent to, but if not, just talking about it and getting it out is really, really good.
It's very cathartic, believe me.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
And do you have a support system for talking to people, family or friends, to really talk about things like this?
Well, I talk to my brother. He's the first one I call when I'm having, excuse me, when I'm having an attack.
Okay,
I'm
well,
like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
Well, he's good for
Yeah.
you because he obviously knows your mom as well as
Right.
you do, and he understands.
And
yeah.
he can pick up the phone, and if I'm having trouble, maybe try to reason with her or whatever the situation may be. And I have some great friends that I can talk to about it and learn more about it. And yeah, and vent. I vent a lot.
Well, it's a good thing
I
to
get
vent.
angry a lot.
Okay. What makes you angry? What you said you get angry a lot.
I
What
get
makes you angry?
Because, and it's a terrible thing to say, but it's imposing on my lifestyle. And I'm finally retired, and for the first time in my life, I am free to do what I want, and I'm being held back, and it aggravates me, and sometimes I don't even feel guilty about it. You know, it's like I'm pissed off. I want to have fun. I want to go dancing. You know, and I have to worry about my mother, and I have to spend a lot of time also. I mean, on the weekends, I have to spend an all day Saturday with her to make sure she doesn't fall asleep, so she doesn't wake up in the middle of the night and freak out the aide, and then the aide's going to quit because she's got a lunatic woman that she's got to take care of at 4:00 in the morning, saying, "Take me to the office." So I have to make sure she's up, or I get called at 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning to come over there and have to stay with her because she's freaking out for some reason because she didn't get enough sleep.
So you had to go over in the middle of the night, even though
Couple of
mom has
times.
an aide,
Yes.
to calm her down.
Yeah, because the aide couldn't handle her.
and mom was probably delusional, thinking
She woke up at 4 in the morning thinking it was morning, and it's dark, and she was just so disoriented.
And when
Yeah.
you showed up, did she immediately calm down, or
No.
did you have to talk her down?
No, I had to talk to her. She didn't calm down right away. She wanted to go to the office. And
And she was talking about your dad's office where she
no,
used to work.
downstairs.
Oh,
She lives in a
downstairs.
condo.
Okay, she wanted to go to the management.
She wanted to go to the
office.
manager's office and complain.
Oh, about
Yeah.
what was she going to complain
Maybe
about?
she had something missing from her closet or something. So she goes through that whole thing too, where she thinks that people are stealing from her, and she wears a wig, and she has to count them all the time to make sure they're there because. I know.
It's important. I mean,
Yeah.
we want to know where our stuff is,
Yes,
right?
yes.
But sometimes people with dementia, they focus on certain things and they
Oh,
get
yeah.
obsessed, right?
Oh, yeah.
So she gets obsessed about her stuff and where it is and what happened to it.
Yeah,
Yeah. And,
often.
And then you have to prove it to her.
Yeah,
that
you have
no
to
one's-
line it up in front of her.
And no one took your stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a messy situation because
Yes.
sometimes they believe you and sometimes they don't.
And it puts the aides in a uncomfortable position also because here she is kind of like accusing them of stealing. So I have cameras in my mother's apartment. I have one in the bedroom and I have one in the kitchen dining area. So I can, for their protection also, so I can see exactly what's going on. So, and they love it because they know that if they're doing the right thing, they don't have anything to worry about.
So you think the cameras are good for the caregivers?
Excellent for the caregivers. It keeps them from being accused of doing something that they didn't do.
Wow, that's a different perspective,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
A lot of them wouldn't like it.
They asked for it.
They
They
asked
wanted
for-
it. They wanted it.
So you're able to monitor those cameras anytime that you want?
And 24 hours a day. And it's on video, so I can go back or forward or whatever.
And have you ever come across anything suspicious at all?
No.
So
No.
it could kind of work both ways because they know they're on film, so they're not going to be, actually caught in the act, so to speak.
And there are some hidden areas too. So if they really wanted to mess with her, they could. But I have confidence in my friends that take care of my mother.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing because,
Yeah.
one of the things that is hard when you're not there and you're not the primary caregiver, you have someone helping you, is wondering, how is my loved one being treated, right? And are they getting what they need? Is someone doing right by them, especially when adult children are not in the area and they can't just
Yeah.
pop in or whatever and look, and so they want to, make sure.
Yeah,
And-
I'm so grateful, and I'm so happy and fortunate that I'm able to be here with my mother.
Yeah.
I mean, not, and I trust the people with her totally, but I mean, maybe if I wasn't here, it wouldn't be them, and who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
knows? They're just
There's a reason for everything. There's a
Yeah.
reason, things work out the way they do. And,
Yes.
And so it's a blessing that you have found great caregivers.
very lucky.
But
very
on the
lucky.
on the other flip of the
I
coin,
also have Linda, who's awesome.
okay, shout out to the good caregivers there. That's a good thing. But it gives you some peace of mind, but deep down in your heart,
It's
do you always feel like, okay, everything's good, I've got it all handled, or do you still worry?
well, I worry all day long, every day, of course. But yeah, it's for the selfish me, that wants to be able to go out and have a good time. When it's not the weekend, I am totally relaxed. I know that my mother is in the best hands possible, and really, I really don't worry. I really don't, I have to say.
So
'Cause
let me ask you a question. Did you ever consider, I know you said you just retired, but did you ever consider being your mother's full-time caregiver?
No, over my dead body. Never.
And why?
Never. Just saying it, never.
And can you expound on that reasoning?
Well, first of all, I've had to do it, and it wasn't a good situation. We had to evacuate for a hurricane, so it was just me and my mother in her wheelchair at a hotel, and I was the one responsible for changing her diapers and whatever. I don't know. It wasn't a good time. I attacked that diaper in the bathroom one night. I mean, I thought that there was a pad inside, and I'm ripping that thing out, and all this stuff's coming out of it.
I think that was a frustration moment, right?
Oh, yeah, I had a bad moment with a diaper, but depends, whatever it was. But so I can't do that.
Because you feel that you're not adequate for it, or it did
I don't
feel,
wanna
or did
do
it
it.
feel uncomfortable?
I don't want to do it. I could never be a nurse. I could never give anybody a shot, although I gave my cats shots for diabetes. But no, I could never be a nurse. It's not me.
Or
Some
caregiver
people
for getting into that intimate part of it.
Yeah, no. I mean, I've had to do it with my mother because I've had to assist other aides that couldn't do it. So I've done it, and it's not anything I really want to do. I'm willing to pay somebody to do it.
Well, you have to know what your boundaries are and what your limits are.
Right, and
right?
yes.
And know that you need to be true to yourself, and at the same time making sure that you're getting mom everything that she needs, but not stressing yourself out
No.
or being a martyr. Right? Some people are caregivers who are martyrs, and
Yeah.
they do these things, and then they end up sometimes resenting their loved one because it's like, oh, like you, I don't want to do this. It takes away my freedom and all these things. So,
Yeah.
I mean, kudos to you for knowing the situation
no.
and taking care of both of you.
I mean, I guess I'm selfish. I don't know. I mean,
No, because caregivers need to take care of themselves. And that's one thing that we always talk about is taking care of you, because if you don't take care of you, you're not going to be in a good space to make these decisions for your mom and be there for her. Because
yeah, but I yell at her. I yell at her sometimes because I get so frustrated.
And how does that make you feel when you yell at her?
Well, good at the time,
Yeah.
But
Did-
I don't know. I don't really feel any guilt at all. I mean, I know I am like the best daughter and doing the best thing for my mother. So, I mean, my mother once said to me, she goes, "You're going to feel guilty when I die because I don't know, I was doing something she didn't like," and that bothered me for a long time. And I thought, you know what, maybe I will feel guilty, but no, I paid my dues
Yeah.
10 times over,
Yeah.
100 times over.
Okay, good. I'm glad you
Yeah,
know that.
so-
All right. Well, on that note, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to go to commercial break, talk about our national sponsor, and give away a free caregiving book. So if you're interested in that, be sure to get a piece of paper and a pencil, and I'll tell you how to do that in just a moment. We'll be right back.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live, it's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides. You are listening to your host, Marcia Teal, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on caregiversolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
Welcome back. At this time, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our national sponsor, Arden Courts Memory Care Communities. Arden Courts is a leader when it comes to memory care. They have over 50 memory care assisted livings throughout the United States, and 10 of them right here in the state of Florida. Arden Courts is a great resource for not only the loved one, giving them great stimulation, great care, great socialization opportunities, but they're a resource for you too as the family caregiver. And so because they're a resource and they provide lots of different opportunities and support groups and education, Arden Courts would like to give you, just because you're listening or watching this program, a free book. This is called The 36-Hour Day, and it's a wonderful resource for family caregivers dealing with any type of dementia, anything from Alzheimer's to vascular dementia to Parkinson's disease. And it was written by Dr. Peter Rabins and Nancy Mace, and it's continually being updated. And if you do not have this book, I highly recommend it, and it's yours absolutely free, just for the asking. All you have to do to get it is send an email. That email address is delray@arden-courts.com. It's there on your screen if you're watching the show on your computer or your phone. If you're listening, again, it's delray@arden-courts.com. Send an email with your name, your address, your telephone number, and say that you heard about the offer of the free book, The 36-Hour Day, on the Caregiver Solution Info Show, and they'll be happy to mail that right to your door. So again, caregivers, take care of yourself and learn, because that's the best way to make caregiving a better experience for yourself and for the person that you take care of. And that is true per my special guest today, Debbie Sanas. She is here. She is the family caregiver overseeing the care of her mom, Gloria, who is currently 104 and a half years old.
Almost a half.
And Debbie lives in Boca Raton, Florida, and so does her mom. And Debbie, you have been instrumental in doing everything for your mom as she ages, right?
Yes.
And so really her aging process really got worse, but not until about her 90s, right? It started slowing down. With
Late 90s.
Late 90s. She had a
Yeah.
couple falls. And,
Yeah.
that's one of the, again, traumatic things that happen with elderly, with them falling and then needing, a walker, wheelchair.
Exactly.
They, sometimes breaking a hip or fracturing a hip. That kind of begins the ball rolling for needing more care. So you took care of all of that and got her some caregivers. And now she's 104 and a half, and she does have some memory loss, some dementia.
Yes.
And that can't be easy for not only you, but for the other family members and the caregivers.
Yeah.
So I know you have care 24/7 around the clock. We talked about that. Do the caregivers that care for her, do they give you feedback? Do they tell you things that happen to your mom during the day?
Yeah.
And do they complain, or do they ask if, for things that they need? I mean, what's the communication like between you and the caregivers that are with your mom on a daily basis?
So I see my mother almost every day. If I was working, they would come to where I work to visit. My mother used to bring me lunch every day when I worked.
So your mom
every
used to
day.
visit you at work
Every
with the
day.
caregivers?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, she still does.
She just
I mean,
liked to shop. I know you
yeah,
worked
she
in a
does.
clothing store.
She likes to shop.
So it was a good excuse to shop.
So yeah, but I get a report every day, like from Luce, exactly what's going on with my mother, and really up until let's say 2 months ago, I mean, my mother was able to get out of the house, transfer into the car, go have breakfast, get back into the car again, come visit me at my house, transfer again, spend a couple of hours. She loved coming to my apartment, and then she would go home. No problem. No problem transferring at all. I mean, her life has been great. As long as she can go out and shop and eat, she's a happy camper.
But then recently something happened. Tell me about
so about 2 weeks ago, actually, we both had a really bad cold, and I would say that it happened after that. She wasn't able to stand anymore.
that. Like all of a sudden.
Yeah. I mean, she couldn't transfer into the car. I mean, Luce had to call help from some man that was at Flakewitz to help her get my mother in the car because my mother's leg strength seemed to just disappear. And that was a couple of weeks ago. And ever since, and my mother's been in bed for the last 2 days because she hasn't been able to get out of bed. And this past weekend, I had 2 different aides there, actually. And my mother just could. I mean, she does everything on the end of her bed. With one, she had a broken wrist with a fist and a flat hand down. She just couldn't get up. She just, all of a sudden, she just can't seem to get up. And yesterday, she was, I don't know, full of dementia yesterday because she just was unrecognizable yesterday. There was a look in her eyes like she didn't know who anybody was or anything. So the aides just left her in bed yesterday and relaxing and everything. And today she couldn't get out of bed either, but she was talking. So she seemed to be a little bit
better.
coming out of it. So it'll be interesting to see tomorrow. I mean, I kind of wouldn't be surprised if next week she just got up and just went out to eat again. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if she's sick or if she's just going downhill and it's not going to get better. I don't know.
So before this happened, I know that you considered having your mom move from her condo
Right.
into an assisted living facility.
Yes.
Why were you even considering that? What was it that made you even consider moving
God.
her?
I mean, I thought that would be the greatest thing in the entire world for her. I mean, there were other people there, and there would be somebody there all the time. So one of my issues is finding help on the weekend. So, I have some very good friends who said to me, it might be a good thing if you checked out assisted living because this way that there's always going to be somebody there with her and you don't have to worry, and you could still have your Luce and your Linda and whatever, and plus you'd have stimulation of other people around her because right now she sits in her house. I mean, she looks at the water, which is nice, but she
Water
sits
doesn't
there
change
all day
much.
long looking out the window. I mean, I don't know what kind of stimulation that is for her.
Right. Right. So she only has really, besides you and the caregivers to talk to,
Right.
pretty much,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
there's really no socialization with her peers.
None.
Right?
Very little.
And what about stimulation in the home? Do the caregivers try to stimulate her?
I mean, they put the TV on, and the two of them, they sit there and they watch TV all day. I mean, my mother, I know, first of all, she only has one hearing aid, so she can't hear. So I know she's not hearing the television. Plus, she has ADD, so certainly she can't follow the television. So between not following it, not hearing it, it's just, I guess she's just looking at it. I don't know what she's seeing, but
Yeah.
I don't even think she could see it. I don't know.
Yeah, we didn't talk about her eyesight
know,
at 104
No,
years old.
no, I think her eyes are okay, actually. The high pressure, and she has to put drops in them every couple of hours, but no, I think she can see.
So the fact that you considered assisted living for her
Yes.
socialization, her
Yes.
stimulation,
Yes.
the fact that she would have nurses and caregivers
And
around
I wouldn't
the
have to
clock,
worry if I couldn't find a weekend aide. I would know that there would be somebody there watching her.
which is one of your hardest things, is finding people, especially if your current aide gets sick, can't show up, has a
Yeah.
flat tire.
Go on vacation.
goes on-
Who's going to cover her for vacation?
Right. So you started looking at assisted livings. And what
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
was that experience like?
So I found a great place,
Which we
and,
won't talk about.
No, and I had a great girl who helped me, but and I brought my mother there, and I showed her a room, and she goes, "Oh, it's nice," and I'm like getting all excited because I'm thinking, okay, I got this in the bag. She's going here.
Yeah. It's gonna
I don't
move.
have to worry. I
Yeah.
can go on my cruise and not worry.
Right.
Okay, well, so from that day that I took my mother to this place,
And it was a regular assisted living because
Mm-hmm.
at the time they had assessed your mom and said she would qualify for regular, that she didn't need to be
which
into memory
was
care.
so great because they also had memory care. So if she had to go into memory care, everything was in one place. I don't have to worry about moving her or any of that. So it was convenient and clean and beautiful and nice. And the people were awesome. But from that moment that I brought her there, anytime she went in the car and she was so freaked out, she said to Luce, "Where are we going?" She goes, "We're going to Walmart." And then where are we going? We're not going to that place, are we? And every day and every morning she would say to her aides, "We're not going to that place, are we?" So she was so freaked out and terrified of that.
Did you explain to your mom before you went why you were going there?
Yeah, I tried to explain the money because I thought if anything would get to her, it would be the money because she's a little shark. And that there would be people there to take care of her. And like I would say to her, "I don't have anybody. Luce can't lift you up anymore.
Right.
She cannot lift you up.
Right.
We need help." So,
But
but
she-
and she looks at me and she doesn't say anything. She's just looking, and I hope it's getting into her brain. But it didn't. And none of it ever did, and she's not going to go there, and it's like over her dead body, and that's the end of the story.
Well, we're going to talk more about this story in a moment. I love the story, but there's always, more to the story.
There is.
And we're going to take a quick break and have more with Debbie when we come back. So we'll be right back.
Somewhere at the corner of bewildered and confused is a lost mother, a father, a sibling, a grandparent. Wandering is a common symptom of Alzheimer's or related dementias and can often make those who care for a loved one feel just as lost. If you're looking for a place that's safe and secure, look to Arden Courts. Memory care is all we do. We know, we understand, we can help. To learn more, visit arden-courts.com. Arden Courts follows equal housing opportunity guidelines.
You are listening to your host, Marcia Teal, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on caregiversolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
We're back, and my guest today is Debbie Saunas. She is the prime caregiver overseeing the care for her 104-and-a-half-year-old mom who lives in Boca Raton, and Debbie is also in Boca. And again, this is so wonderful that you're here to share, because a lot of people, well, first of all, don't get the opportunity to have a parent that lives past 100,
Right.
let alone 104.
Right.
And so there's special challenges, of
Yeah.
course, with that. And your mom does have some dementia. But you were sharing a story right before break about thinking to have your mom go into a regular assisted living, which she
Yeah.
got approved for. The assisted living had assessed her, said she could go into the regular general population at that point in time.
Yes.
And it's interesting that your mom even with dementia, she remembered that she went and told you she's not going.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And
Oh,
she
yeah.
was very adamant about it. And
Continually.
yes, and that makes your job harder because you know that it's the best thing for her
Yeah.
at the time, because she would have all that support and it would be good for her, be good for you, probably even be better for the money situation because
Oh,
you're
much.
paying out-of-pocket private pay around the clock for her care. So in
Yeah.
all, it seems to be like a great thing.
Yeah.
But as all stories, this one got a wrench thrown into it,
Yeah.
and that came through the doctor. So a couple days ago, her doctor reached out to you, and what did the doctor say?
So, since going to the nursing home, she kind of took a decline visiting it, the assisted living. She seemed to have taken a decline mentally, physically, everything. And so we called her primary doctor, and she recommended that they're sending hospice to my mother.
The doctor said that?
Yeah, that they wanted they're ordering hospice. That it's time now, that we can't wait any longer.
Now, when you heard that from the doctor,
Well,
or
so
from the
to
office.
me, hospice meant, okay, she's going to die in 2 weeks. That's what I thought hospice was.
right. So you
And-
must have freaked out when they told you, hey, we're going to bring hospice in for your mom,
Yeah.
because up until a week before that, she was
She
like,
was going out every day.
right, going out for breakfast every day.
Every day.
So what did you think when you heard that?
Okay, well, I thought two things. I thought, holy shit. And then I thought, great. Because I thought, oh, there's going to be somebody there with my mother, which for me is the bottom line, is the bottom line, is that there is somebody there for my mother. That's all I care about.
I know you're a great daughter. You
all I
you
care
have
about.
you have totally have her best interests at heart. I know you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like a lot of people, when you heard that word hospice, you said that you thought she was going to die in 2 weeks.
Yeah, but then I found out more and found out that there were different kinds of hospice, and that they can be on hospice and then not on hospice and then back on hospice. Doesn't mean that there's going to be somebody there with her 24/7. It means they will not be there with her 24/7, actually. They'll come and visit her and make sure she's okay and that she's getting no bed sores, and that, whatever needs to be done, that she's being turned or getting up. Hopefully she's going to get up. I hope she gets up.
So did that ultimately, when you learn more about what hospice does and what they provide, did it make you feel better?
Yeah, it did. It did, because I knew that it wasn't a permanent thing and that somebody else is also going to be looking out for her. So the more the better, right? So Medicare sends a nurse a couple of times a week. They send a guy who helps my mother stand, but she wouldn't stand this week for him. But so he comes twice a week, Norm, and to keep her strength. But for some reason this week she doesn't have any. So I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring.
So do you feel like this is sort of like a turning point in your mom's life?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a turning point or if she's sick. I don't know.
Obviously
I
declined.
declined, but she's better today than she was yesterday. So maybe tomorrow she'll be better than she was today,
Or not.
or not. I'm assuming she's going to be better.
And there's no really way to tell.
No,
Right?
no.
But you're being hopeful.
Yeah.
And you're being positive.
Yes.
And you're taking the right steps to make sure your mom has everything that she needs.
Yeah.
So with the new people that are coming into your mom's home
Tough.
to do some physical therapy, to the new nurses, how does your mom accept
She
these
likes
people?
it. She loves the attention. She
Ah.
loves the attention. Any attention. Actually, she was saying about the assisted living. She goes, "Why? I don't want to live in assisted living." She goes, "I don't want to look at all these old people." She goes, "I want to look at young people." So when people come to the house,
They're younger.
they're young. So
people.
she sees them, and she wants to see the young people.
Do you think that she sees herself as a 104-year-old person?
Oh, she knows and she thinks she's amazing. She knows and she thinks she's amazing. But
So she's proud that
oh yeah,
she's reached this
yes,
important.
yes, and people pay a lot of attention to her, and she loves it.
Yeah.
She loves it.
Well, she is unique for
Yes,
sure.
yes.
And we
She's
all
a strong woman.
We
She's
all
got-
want to live a long time, but we want to live a good quality of life, and,
Yeah.
and she has really up until this point.
but not
thanks
now.
to you.
And not now though. And I mean,
So, what's your biggest fear now?
that I'm not going to be able to find an aide.
Because she's not going to the assisted living now.
Yes.
Okay.
So I worry about the aides. The first thing on my mind, of course, I worry about my mother living, of course, but she's 104 and I'm realistic. My mother is not going to live forever. I know that.
Yeah, if she is, she'll be the first one, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, we all die. And I realize that.
So you decided once that the doctor recommended hospice, you decided to keep her at home instead of going into the assisted living.
No, I decided to keep her at home because she ain't going there. And I'm not going to force her. And if it's going to be so horrifying for her, why would I do that at her age?
Well,
If she has another year and she wants to be at home, though, but if she wants to be at home, who am I not to let her be at home?
also, do you think that if you did choose to go ahead with the assisted living, and the idea of that was to actually have stimulation and socialization, would she still be able to?
She doesn't want it.
She doesn't want it.
She
Or
doesn't
maybe
want
she
it.
wouldn't be able to partake.
My mother's
of
a
it.
snob, and she's a snob, and she is. I hate to say it. And she's not going to want to hang out with them, and she's not going to.
Well, again, you're a great caregiver. You're doing the best thing for your mom, for
Yeah.
what she wants, for what she needs. Luckily, she has the resources to be able to do that.
Yes.
And I think you're an amazing
Thank
daughter
you.
for everything that you've shared,
Thank you.
everything that you've given to all of the people listening today, because
Thanks.
a lot of times people think certain things but they don't verbalize it, and you said today early on you're angry, you're frustrated, and you told us why, and a lot
Yeah.
of people don't express that, and it's so important to keep it inside as caregivers. And I think bringing it out and sharing it and feeling your feelings,
Right.
which you did, and you
Yes.
shared with us,
Yes.
and you helped, I'm sure, a lot of people that might relate to this story.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. It's not easy. It's not
No.
easy. It's the hardest thing I've ever done, really.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Big
well,
responsibility. I wish somebody would have warned me, I mean, I just had no idea that at my age this was going to be my role.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I just want to say good job.
Thanks.
Thank you for being with
Thank
us
you.
today. Appreciate you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to caregiversolutions.info every Tuesday at 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. You can also catch us on iHeartRadio under WNN, on the iPad podcast, right? And we also are on local South Florida AM and FM radio. We'll be back next week with another program for you. And until then, stay safe, stay happy. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us for this week's Caregiver Solutions with Marcia Teal. Join us next week as Marcia, who has 15 years of Alzheimer's disease and dementia care experience, brings you more needed information to help with the care of your loved one. This show can be seen again on caregiversolutions.info, and questions can be left on the site, which may be used on the program to help others. See you next week for more Caregiver Solutions.